Hello everyone, I hope you all are having a great day and welcome to the first video on the channel. On this channel we will be going over several cryptos in the near future that we believe will have a place to stay, as they are likely to be utilized by companies, small and medium enterprises, institutions, or banks. Perhaps there are other group entities as well that these cryptos or future cryptos could additionally dive into to improve the current systems that are used today. Anyways, we plan to work out a video posting schedule shortly, and that should become more apparent within about a month hopefully. So, in today's video, we're going to be going over the basics of the cryptocurrency known as XRP. We will take a look at its use case, and I'll talk about what it is, the company behind it, which is known as Ripple. I'll talk about Ripplenet, and I'll touch on the XRP Ledger, which will be explained more in the next video. And I'm planning to have that out in a few days. Alright, getting into it. How was XRP created? To make it simple, the story goes something like this. A few brilliant people who were aware of blockchain technology almost a decade ago looked over Bitcoin and its blockchain and decided that they could essentially make a better version of this. They noticed a few flaws in Bitcoin. First off, the transaction times for Bitcoin are relatively slow, which causes scaling difficulties as the blockchain can't handle large amounts of transactions very quickly. On top of the scalability issue, the energy emitted from mining appeared to be troubling. It was stated in a document, and I actually have that linked in the description, that it talks about mining alone for Bitcoin uses the same amount of energy that you could observe in an entire country. Anyways, those three people that I mentioned were Arthur Brito, Jed McCaleb, who is the current founder of Stellar, and David Schwartz, who is the current CTO of Ripple. And I'll explain Ripples really soon. In 2011, they developed the XRPL, which is the XRP Ledger. Then, the very next year, the native token to the XRPL, known as XRP, was created. Sometime around mid-2012, both XRP and the XRP Ledger were fully completed. On to the next topic. What is XRP and what does it do? XRP is a cryptocurrency that has utility in the real world. A big aspect of XRP is its ability to support transactions that lack liquidity or take a great amount of liquidity to process. XRP in simple terms could be described as on-demand liquidity, or ODL for short. And if you are unaware, liquidity in markets refers to being able to exchange something, and you would consider that to have respect with time and demand and supply. Cash or currencies, for example, are typically the most liquid assets attainable, simply because you can transact with those more than practically anything else in the easiest ways possible. Liquidity is universally a good thing, as exchanges of practically anything go quicker and more smoothly if more liquidity is available. Anyways, according to Ripple, XRP was a digital asset built for payments. It is the native digital asset on the XRP Ledger. It is also something that can be sent or moved without needing a middleman. This is one of the reasons why you could consider XRP as being a bridge currency. A bridge currency allows for one currency to be bridged to another. It's that simple. XRP can perform this task in roughly 3 to 5 seconds per transaction. Fun fact, if you actually go into Google and you search up bridge currency, XRP will pop up as an example as a bridge currency. XRP is also scalable, as it can handle well over 1,000 transactions per second. This means that with the thousands of potential transactions in any given second, 1,000 of them are able to be processed, while each transaction in itself taking place will go through a 3 to 5 second interval on each ledger within the XRP Ledger. And I will explain that a little bit later, and I'll also explain that in the next video. In comparison to Bitcoin, XRP uses far less electricity, which could be perceived as negligible, meaning you practically wouldn't even notice. Lastly, it is extremely cheap as it takes roughly 10 drops, I believe, of XRP to transact. And to summarize drops, one XRP is split into about 1 million drops. Therefore, you could consider that transaction to be very, very cheap. Now, how can XRP be utilized? There are several places in the world that XRP could potentially go to. It was designed to scale to handle trillions of dollars of transactions. This, along with it being able to process every currency, including cryptos, makes it a strong competitor in the realm of global payments, which currently has very few competitors using at least this type of technology. Additionally, XRP is tied to the Ripplenet, and that deals with cross-border payments in itself. I'm going to talk about Ripplenet in a couple of segments, and I'm sure I'll touch on it in the future if you're still confused, so plenty of information on that to come. Anyways, currently, the system dealing with cross-border payments is known as SWIFT. SWIFT was designed back in the 1970s, and as you know, that's about 50 years ago, and I believe it is time for a new system to be implemented. There's actually an interview with Brad Garlinghouse, who's the current founder of Ripple, and he compared SWIFT to a horse and thought of XRP as a sports car. That was his analogy. So, what is SWIFT? It's a network that allows for institutions all over the world to transfer information about financial transactions. SWIFT itself doesn't actually move the money. It only works on a ledger and helps banks by sorting out debits and credits for amounts of currencies which are tied to nostro and vostro accounts. And those are basically in various banks in all over the world in different countries. Nostro vostro accounts can be thought of as currency just sitting idle in bank, not necessarily moving or doing anything until they're, you could say, activated. So this is an example would be, Japan would be able to send its currency to Mexico in exchange for Mexico's currency without actually needing to physically send the currency. This transaction goes through the SWIFT network, and debits and credits are issued to each country depending on the transaction. Some of the loose facts behind SWIFT include a multiple business day transfer time and high fees. XRP is primed to perform this task much more efficiently, as it would be hundreds of times cheaper and faster. XRP could also fill in part of the role of nostro vostro accounts due to its ability to bridge currencies, which would take away the need to have money just sitting idle in banks, not being able to be used at any given moment. Alright, back to XRP and away from SWIFT. So how many XRP tokens are there? There's a finite supply of XRP tokens in existence, meaning an exact amount. This is not like the dollar where you can print more and there can be more tomorrow than there is today. Something that you should take note of is that XRP cannot be created, it can only be destroyed. And there were originally 100 billion tokens in existence created on the XRP Ledger. Currently, there's less than that number. There's slightly less than that initial number, as each time XRP is transacted, a minuscule amount is burned and simply gone. The transaction fee is actually the amount that is burned, so I believe it's roughly 10 to 12 drops, somewhere around that range is burned per XRP transaction. Currently, about 45 billion tokens are sitting in circulating supply. This means that that amount is owned by organizations, retail investors, such as you perhaps, or maybe me, and exchanges, and there are other entities that hold XRP, but I won't get into those right now. For the other 55 billion, roughly, they are currently sitting in an escrow within the XRP Ledger. I believe that there are, or were, 11 escrow accounts, and actually that depends on when you see this, if that amount is still there. It might be different in the future. And each escrow originally contained 5 billion XRP. So that's just a fun fact. Anyways, each month, 1 billion escrowed XRP is open to the public market for sales of XRP. And within that billion, typically only a small percentage of it, I would estimate, probably 10 to 30% is actually sold. I actually have that linked in the description. And you can look at it. Basically every month between 100 million to about 300 million are actually sold out of that billion that's offered. The remainder of that simply goes back into the escrow that it was originally in. So, what is the XRP Ledger? I'm actually going to make another video this week explaining more on this because that will be way too much to wrap up in one video. Although, to give some insight on this, the XRP Ledger falls under the broad label of distributed ledger technology. Specifically for XRP, the ledger is a permissionless, open source, decentralized blockchain. It's decentralized, meaning that there's no single admin for the ledger. Instead, it is technically controlled by anyone who adds onto it. Although there cannot be open control without some sort of backing, which deals with the consensus protocol that they have. And that's some kind of complicated terminology that will be explained way more clearly in the next video, so don't worry about that. Basically, it has a consensus protocol, which is a way to, you could say, validate transactions. And it also has validator nodes within the ledger. And those nodes and the protocol basically make transactions legitimate and go through successfully. Those topics will be discussed in the next video, so don't worry about that. So who is behind all of this? Who is behind the scenes of XRP? The company that it's tied to this crypto is Ripple. To make it clear, because the two get mixed up quite often, you could kind of get away back then with calling XRP Ripple or Ripples, and that's just not exactly how it works anymore. Ripple is a company and XRP is a digital token. Anyways, regardless, what does it do? What does Ripple do? Ripple is a company that specializes in cross-border payments. This means that they will help the transfer of money from one place to another. They have a network known as RippleNet, which works as a network for payments. This can be thought of as a frictionless version of, I guess you could say, IOUs, as it attempts to tie banks and companies together. To explain further, you could use the idea that banks work under multiple systems, and RippleNet would group them into one system or network, which would allow for seamless transactions, meaning there's not just a bunch of endpoints throughout it, just one big network where you can have something flow without any friction through the whole thing. And this would be better because banks technically do have a network with seams in it, meaning there are a lot of points that you have to get through instead of just a big flowing path. That should cap off the intro to XRP video. I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. Please consider liking the video, sharing with others, and subscribing to help us grow. Also, please comment if you learned anything or if you yourself are an XRP holder. Here is our Twitter handle where you'll be able to get updates on when we are actually going to post videos. My partner and I have actually made it a goal to teach people about cryptocurrencies and the technology behind it. We truly believe that the crypto space is going to be the biggest innovation and integration of technology in history, and I believe that is occurring as we speak. We look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Thank you guys.